Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Homage to our most venerable teacher Bhante Pinnath Loku Swamin Wahanse. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya, dear children and dear Dhamma disciples. So today also, we are here to talk about our marvelous sage, the Supreme Buddha, based on the book by our Pinnath Loku Swamin Wahanse recently wrote, called Acharya Manusso, the marvelous sage. We have the translation now in English, like this. The Buddha, the marvelous sage, by Venerable Kirtipadguru Nyanananda Thera. So, being very much grateful to our Pinnath Loku Swamin Wahanse, we are here to talk about many things based on the book too. If you remember, we talked many things about our Siddhartha Bosathanan Wahanse, the Mahabodhisattva. And then the Mahabodhisattva became the Buddha seated under the Bodhi tree. After a huge battle with Mara, he won and he attained the supreme enlightenment, and he became the fourth supreme Buddha in this Mahabhadrakalpa, the most beautiful eon. And then after becoming the supreme Buddha, after becoming our supreme Buddha, he gained the knowledge of the world. And then we talked about those triple knowledge last week too. And then after becoming the supreme Buddha, he himself, the supreme Buddha himself, talked to the devas and humans, which means he started preaching the Dhamma. So if I share something today with you, like this I have. This is our Supreme Buddha. If you remember, this statue is available in our Mahameuna, Polgahawela, main monastery in Sri Lanka. And then the Supreme Buddha, after becoming the Supreme Buddha, you know that he started his preaching to 5 monks, Panchavaggiya bhikkhus, and then the first discourse was Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. We are here to talk, not to talk about Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Anyways, the Buddha expresses his knowledge and vision that he gained in this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. I think you see my screen from Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Dhammacakka. Chakka is the wheel. Dhamma is the dharma. Dhammacakka means this, the setting in motion, the wheel of Dhamma. And in that discourse, you see the beautiful picture. The picture, the 5 monks. Those are monks, huh? And then the Buddha is speaking to the 5 monks, preaching Dhammacakkappavattana. So it's a beautiful picture you see. In that Dhammacakkappavattana, this is the part he explains about himself. Dinara, maybe you're happy to read the first part. He says.
Hey, my son Hansa. As long as many true knowledge and vision about these Four Noble Truths was not fully purified in these three perspectives and 12 respects, I didn't announce my supreme perfect awakening in this world with its gods, Maras and Brahmas. This population with its as-
Aesthetics.
ascet- um, ascetics and Brahmins is its gods and humans.
Very good. Very good. What do you understand from this text? He said, Buddha himself, he said that he did not preach this Dhamma to the world unless until he did not understand fully awakeness, until he gained the fully understanding, until he become the Supreme Buddha. He did not say that he was the Buddha, but after being so in this part you see in the Pali canon, in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, anybody else who can read or chant this part in Pali? Yavati vanchako bhikkhave. Okay, Subodha, your chance.
My silence. Yavaki vansha me bhikkhave imesu chatusu arya satchesu evanti parivattan dvadasakaram yata bhutan jnana tassanam nasu visuddhang ahosi nevatavaham bhikkhave sadevake loke samarake Sabrahmake sassamana brahmaniya pajaya sadeva manusaya anuttarang samma sambodhin abhisambuddho pachanyasim.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. That's very nice. Imesu, you see the first line. Chatusu Arya Satchesu. Chatusu, four. Arya Satchesu, noble truths. Arya, noble. Satcha, truth. Okay? Until he gained. So he, as long, again, the first one, as long as my true knowledge and vision about these four noble truths was not fully purified in these three um, perspectives and 12 aspects, I didn't announce my supreme perfect acknowledging in this world. He did not say that he was the Buddha. So that's the maybe the huge understanding, and then after becoming the Supreme Buddha, he spoke to the world, uh, and then he said that after becoming the Supreme Buddha, he said that he was the Buddha. He became the Buddha in this way. And then anybody else who can read this amazing part from Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta again in English?
Swami, once can I say?
Yes. Yes.
But when my true knowledge and vision about these Four Noble Truths was fully purified in these three perspectives and 12 respects, I announced my supreme perfect awakening in this world with its gods, Maras, and Brahmas. This population with its ascetics and Brahmins is gods and humans.
Very good. Very good. What did you understand this? After becoming the Supreme Buddha, he said to the world, with Maras, Brahmins, ascetics, and humans, that he was the Supreme Buddha. Until he did not say that. And then anybody who is able to chant the Pali part, maybe Arjuna is comfortable? Oh, yes.
This one, right, Sansi?
Yes.
Yato chako me bhikkhave imesu chatusu ariya satchesu evam ti parivattang vadasakaram yata bhutang jnana dasanam suvisuddhang ahosi atahang bhikkhave sadevake loke Samarake Sabrahmake Sasamanak Brahmaniya Pajaya Sadeva Manusaya Anuttarang Samma Sambodhin Abhisambuddhoti Pachanyasing.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful. Thank you for reading. So Buddha explains that he proclaimed his teachings after becoming the Supreme Buddha until he did not. And then after that, in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta itself, he says this too. This is about his knowledge. Yes, Senile. Senile.
Sorry, Bante, which part would you like me to read?
This part, Buddha.
Okay. Knowledge and vision arose in me. My freedom is unshakable. This is my last rebirth. Now there'll be no more future lives.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Do you understand,
Sadhu.
everybody? The Buddha says about his knowledge and wisdom like this. Knowledge and vision arose in me. So that's how he explained about himself, right? Knowledge and vision arose in me that never had before. And he says, my freedom is unshakable, which means he did not go back to the normal life again. He is the Buddha now. His freedom is unshakable. That is not changeable. This is my last rebirth. That is something amazing you hear. This is my last rebirth means he ended up the samsara, repeated cycle of birth and death. That was, if you remember, we talked about our Supreme Buddha as Mahabodhisattva came in the samsara, perfections, fulfilling the perfections in the samsara, uncountable number of lives, thousands and millions of trillions of uncountable number of times. He was born to become the Supreme Buddha in this world. And after becoming the Supreme Buddha, he himself said this is my last rebirth. Wasn't that amazing? Which means he ended up the samsara. And he is the person, this marvelous person who speaks these truths to the world to become a person who is who does not have any rebirth again. And then now there will no more future lives for me, he said. And then if someone is comfortable to chant the Pali part of this.
Swamin Vansa.
Hiru? Yes,
Nanancha paname dasanam udapadi akupa me vimutti ayamantima jati nati dani puna bhavoti.
sadhu, sadhu. Jnanancha paname dasanam udapadi. I gain the supreme knowledge. Akuppami cheto vimukti. That cheto is missing here. I'm sorry for that. I gained this from Sutta Central, maybe. Akuppa means unshakable. My cheto vimukti means my vision. And then my freedom. I am antima jati, so I will not have any rebirth. This is my last rebirth. Nattidani punabhavati. That's something very, very beautiful. And then we are talking about the supreme wisdom of our supremely enlightened Buddha. And then, if you remember, he practiced austerities being in the forest. Do you remember that? He suffered a lot, seeking the supreme nirvana. But he did not find that by being suffering, by being suffered in this in the forest without eating, without sleeping, giving so much tortures to his body. He was not able to understand the Dhamma. And then finally, he found the noble path, which is the middle path. Middle path is the Noble Eightfold Path. Do you remember the Noble Eightfold Path? And then, if you do not know the Noble Eightfold Path, this is a very good chance for you to learn about that like this. I will share. Do you see my screen, everybody? The wonderful Noble Eightfold Path to the deathless Nibbana. Noble Eightfold Path. The Mahabodhisattva himself understood the Noble Eightfold Path, and then he followed that. And then following the Noble Eightfold Path, he was able to understand the Nirvana, the liberation. What was the first section in the Noble Eightfold Path? You see that. That is called Sammaditthi. Everybody wants to learn about these eight aspects in the Noble Eightfold Path. What was the first one again? Sammaditthi, right view. When you grow up, maybe children, maybe right now too, you can learn about right view. That is about the noble truths, okay? The knowledge of suffering, the knowledge of cause of suffering, the knowledge of end of suffering, and the knowledge of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. That's the right view about this world, right view about this Dhamma. Okay? That was the first one. I want you to remember the first of the Noble Eightfold Path. And then the second one is Samma Sankappa. Samma is the right or correct or the only one. Sankappa is the intention of, you will learn about that in detail maybe later, but I am here to talk about main things today, okay? And then the Samma Sankappa is the first, right intention. I want you to remember these words with the meaning. And then the third point is Samma Vacha, right speech. Fourth, Samma Kammanta, right action. These are actually the precepts you practice every day. The next one is Samma Ajiva, right livelihood, right way of living, earning and making your money in a righteous way. Samma Vayama, right effort. What is the right effort to the Nibbana? You will understand later, okay? And the next one is Samma Sati. Sati is the mindfulness. 4 establishments of mindfulness. According to the teachings, you will understand this later. Samma Samadhi. Samadhi is the concentration. When you practice meditation, someone, they can achieve the levels of concentration. The first level, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. Maybe more than that too, the Buddha explains. Samma Samadhi are the four levels of concentration. And then what is the first one again? Sammaditthi. Second one, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. Anybody who is able to read this in Pali and English, I can give you the chance.
Sansa, may I read?
Sure, in Pali and in English.
Sammaditthi, right view. Samma Sankappa, right intention. Samma Vacha, right speech. Samma Kammanta, right action. Samma Ajiva, right livelihood. Samma Vayama, right effort. Samma Sati, right mindfulness. Samma Samadhi, right concentration.
Sadhu, sadhu, very good. Someone else too? How about Devanga? You can try.
Okay. Do I just start from the beginning?
Yeah,
Samma Ditti, right view. Samma Sankappa, right intention. Samma
could you
Vacha,
speak up a little bit?
Samma Vacha, right speech. Samma Kammanta, right action. Samma Ajiva, right livelihood. Samma Vayama, right effort. Samma Sati, right mindfulness. Samma Samadhi, right concentration.
Very good, sadhu sadhu. And everybody, I will read the Pali part and you will repeat, keeping your mics off. Okay. Okay. You want to chant this and you want to keep this by heart. Okay. Okay. You will start. Samma ditti, samma sankappa, samma vacha, samma kammanta, samma ajiva, samma vayama, samma sati, samma samadhi. One more time. Samma ditti, samma sankappa, samma vacha, samma kammanta, samma ajiva, samma vayama, samma sati, samma samadhi. You and me together. Samma ditti, samma sankappa, samma vacha, samma kammanta, samma ajiva, samma vayama, samma sati, samma samadhi. By yourself. Number one, samma ditti. Very good. Now I will give you the chance to read it by heart. Someone else who is able to do that. Okay, Sanila.
Bante, I really didn't memorize it.
Okay. Anybody else? Kevin and Laura.
Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vaya, Samma Kammanta, Samma
Good try. Good try. Someone else? Very good.
Can I try someone answer?
Yes.
Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanto, Samma Ajivo, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi.
Sadhu, sadhu. Someone else?
Sorry, sir. I think Dehan and Sanon have their hand up.
Okay, yes. Yes.
Dehan and Sanon.
Okay, good.
I
Dehan.
don't remember all song. I have to put my hand up.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
So not I remember.
Sure.
Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Jiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very good. Senon.
එහෙමයි සම්මාස. සම්මා දිට්ඨි, සම්මා සංකප්ප, සම්මා වාචා, සම්මා කම්මන්ත, සම්මා ආජීව, සම්මා වායාම, සම්මා සති, සම්මා සමාධි.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Aga, you will try? Or you need help?
Oh, I think I will need help.
Okay, this is your chance then. Yeah.
Sammaditi, Sammasankappa, Sammavacha, Sammakamanta, Samma-ajiva, Samma-vayama, Sammasati, Samma-samadhi.
Sadhu, sadhu, beautiful. Everybody, if you can take a picture of this, maybe you can you can practice it later. Okay, you need more time for that.
I memorized it, Sarnath, sir.
Good.
Answer, I memorized it.
That's very good. Okay, these are the Noble Eightfold Path, which is called the middle path. Middle path. Do you remember the middle path? He stopped the enjoyment of luxurious things, enjoyment of the sensual pleasures, and he stopped the giving so much of suffering for the body. These two aspects are not for the path to the Nibbana. And then giving up these two aspects, two wrong paths, he practiced the middle path, which is called the Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path is just the middle path. It's not something else. And then these are the the points, 8 things that you can see in the Noble Eightfold Path.
Qu'est-ce que tu regardes? Je regarde si mes headphones sont.
Okay, these are very profound teaching. And then understanding the noble truths, the Supreme Buddha, he understood the nature of this life, nature of the samsara. This is, children, this is the very profound teaching Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha, very deep Dhamma that he understood about this life. This is called, this is maybe you can learn these things in detail when you grow up. Even today, you can understand this is something very profound. He understood as the Dhamma, as the nature of this life, as the end of this suffering. And then this is called dependent origination. Dependent origination. And then I have here the Pali word and the meaning the Supreme Buddha understand as the dependent origination. Linda, do you remember the Pali word for dependent origination?
Yes, Bhante. Is it Paticca Samuppada?
Very good. Which is called Paticca Samuppada. Again, Paticca Samuppada. According to the Paticca Samuppada, according to the dependent origination, this is, children, again, very deep Dhamma. You want to be very attentive to learn about this, okay? The deepest Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha, dependent origination, he understood this is the way the suffering arises, and this is the way the suffering ceases. This is the noble Dhamma he understood. And in the dependent origination, clearly you read the first thing, which is called avijja. You want to repeat me? Avijja. In English, ignorance. Number 2, sankhara. Sankhara or sanskara in Sinhala, volitional formations. Next, vijnana. These are new words sometimes. Consciousness. Nama, rupa. 2 things together. Nama, rupa. Name and form in English. Salayatana. 6 sense bases. Phassa. Phassa. Contact. Vedana, feeling. Tanha, craving. Upadana, clinging. Bhava, existence. Jati, rebirth. Jara, Marana, aging and death. Soka, sorrow, Parideva, lamentation, Dukkha, pain, Domanasa, displeasure, Upayasa, despair. Again, Avijja, Sankhara, Vijnana, Namarupa, Salayatana, Passa, Vedana, Tanha, Upadana, Bhava, Jati, Jara Marana, Soka, Parideva, Dukkha, Domanasa, Upayasa. Okay, this is again very deep Dhamma, and then he explained, the Supreme Buddha explained the way this suffering arises, the way the world beings suffer in this world. It is not something spontaneously happening because of the birth. So you know that birth is is someone is born in this world, maybe as humans, maybe as an animal, maybe as a deva or heavenly being, maybe as a ghost. You understand that? Maybe as a yak or naga or brahma. Wherever someone is born, that's the birth. Because of that birth, because we are born according to the karma, we get old, we get sick, and then we die. We have lots of suffering because of this birth. He understood that is the way the suffering that people or the world beings experience. He understood. And then this is very basic, Pute. This is very profound again. And then you will get a basic knowledge about that like this again. Don't worry if you do not understand this deeply, but get an idea about this, okay? Seeing the arising of dependent origination, paticca samuppada. With ignorance as condition, volitional formations come to be. Ignorance is the not knowing about noble truths, not knowing about the nature of this world. Suffering, cause of suffering, end of suffering, and path leading to the cessation of suffering, which is called ignorance or not knowing about the noble truths. Volitional formations come to be. Linda, if you have any idea about this, how do you say that?
Oh, sorry, Bante. My understanding is because we don't, ignorance means not knowing or not understanding the Four Noble Truths. So because we don't understand the Four Noble Truths as really is, then we perform unwholesome karma by our body, by our speech, and by our mental action. That's why it says with ignorance as condition, then the volitional formations come to be.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely not about bad karma. Maybe the karma. Okay. Karma, good karma or bad karma. Anyways, karma.
Yes.
Karma. Yes, you're right. And then the second part, everybody, because of these volitional formations as condition, consciousness come to be. Consciousness is the main thing in this life, and then consciousness departs according to the karma, and then it creates another rebirth as it lives. Okay. Volitional form is as condition, consciousness come to be. And consciousness as condition, name and form come to be. These are very new things sometimes to you. With name and form as conditions, now you understand the next the rest of the dependent origination. 6 sense bases come to be. What are the 6 sense bases, if you have any idea? Arjuna, 6 sense bases?
So the eye, the ear, the
Yeah.
nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind.
Very good. These are the 6 sense bases, as everybody has. We do have eye, ear, nose, something like that. And then you understand the rest of this part. With 6 sense bases as condition, contact come to be. What is contact? Isra, do you have any idea about the contact?
Oh, sorry. I'm not really sure, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Anybody else? What is contact? Contact in the eye. How do you explain the contact in the eye, Linda? Again, lots of questions to you.
Yes. Okay, Bante, Bante, my understanding, contact is the meeting of 3 things.
Yes.
When it's eye contact, that means it's the meeting of the eye and the visual objects that we see and the eye consciousness. When these 3 things meet, then it's called eye contact.
Very good. 3 things come together. The eye, the form we see, and the consciousness come together. And then this is called the contact of the eye. Then you understand the contact in the ear. Ear, the sound, and the consciousness. And then the contact in the nose is the nose, the smell, and the consciousness get together, come together, which is called the nose contact. Then you will explain about the contact about the tongue. How do you explain that? You have the tongue, you have the taste, and then you have the consciousness. These 3 things come together, which is called the tongue contact in the tongue. About the body, tangibles, and the consciousness. Contact in the mind, thoughts, consciousness. These 3 things come together. Again, the mind, thoughts, and the consciousness. These are the contacts. So because of the sense 6 bases, we do have these contacts all the time. Like we see things, we hear things, we smell things, we taste things, and we have tangible touches, and we have thoughts too. Do you understand that? Everybody, this is very profound. And because of these things, we, how do you say that? We deal with the world, and we have connections with the world, but we do not know that this is something very, very important about our samsara, about this journey called repeated rebirth. And this is something that controls our life in this samsara, going here and there, being born here and there. This is something that controls, that works in our life, everybody. And because of this contact, you understand, with contact as condition, feeling come to be. When you have a good feeling, or maybe you have a bad feeling, basically we talk, that feeling arises because of that contact. For example, you eat chocolate. Everybody, have you ever eaten chocolate, everyone? Yes. When you eat chocolate, I know that you have a good feeling. You like it. You have a very nice feeling because you eat chocolate. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong.
No, but
I'm not wrong. You eat chocolate and you have a good feeling because you eat chocolate. How does this happen? This is the Dhamma he understood. You have your tongue. You have the taste of chocolate, the taste, the piece of chocolate. And then you have the consciousness. You see that, or you feel that, you recognize that. Again, you have your tongue, you have that piece of chocolate, you have that recognition, the consciousness. And then because of these three things come together, meeting together, you have a feeling. That is a good feeling. How about a bad feeling? How about a bad feeling? Maybe you see something very dirty on the ground. Okay? When you see that, you feel like, yeah. Or maybe you do not like to see that. That's like disgusting. That's not a good feeling. That's not a good feeling. That's a bad feeling, unpleasant feeling. How does this happen? You have your eye, and then you have that object on the ground, disgusting object on the ground. And then you have this mindset, which is called consciousness or the recognition. These three things came together, met together, and then that bad feeling arose in your mind. Do you understand that? Did you? Okay, how about a bad feeling? Maybe you have some rotten food in your plate, okay? Then you have a disgusting smell coming from your plate, for example. And then you have a bad feeling about that. How do you explain about this unpleasant feeling? Again, if you understand Israel, I'm not putting in your trouble, okay?
It makes sense. Sorry, Bante, could Bante repeat the question?
Okay. You have something very unpleasant on the plate. That's like a very bad smell. You have rotten food, maybe a rotten apple or something. And then you have that bad feeling. What is the contact and how does that bad feeling arise in your mind?
That contact would be, I guess it could be the nose contact when you smell the bad smell from that rotting food. And then that feeling would arise from the consciousness of that, the nose consciousness.
Very good. Very good. You had that object on the plate, you have your nose, and then you have your consciousness. Those three things came together, met together, and then bad feeling arose. Bad feeling arises. Unpleasant feeling arises. Did you understand that? Very good. And then because of this feeling, see, with feeling as condition, craving come to be. Craving come to be. Craving or desire or maybe any kind of attachment, liking or whatever in this world. We have a huge list if you write. I like this, I like that, this is my favorite, he is my favorite actor, she is my favorite singer. Do you have, I think, that was my favorite food, I like that drink, this is my favorite color, I like that country, this is the best city that I want to live in. Do you have these kinds of lists that you like? Or maybe the craving, maybe any kind of whatever. Because how does these kinds of list do we have? What is the reason for this? If you explain. Because children, we have that good feeling. Because we have a good feeling about that, we like it. We have that desire. We have that intention to have that. We like it. We want it. We have a kind of attachment. For example, if I ask you, if you have a favorite food, how do you understand, Dinu? What is your favorite food? For example, everybody.
It would be like pizza, for example.
Okay, okay. Everybody likes pizza. Everybody likes pizza. How do you say that my favorite food is pizza? Because of the good feeling you have when you eat. When you eat pizza, you have a good feeling. How do you have that good feeling in your mind for pizza? Because you have your tongue. You have that piece of pizza and you have the recognition, the consciousness. They came together, they met together, and good feeling arose in your mind. Because of that pleasant feeling, you have that craving. That's the wisdom of the Supreme Buddha. That's how he understood about this life, about this world, about this suffering. Any questions, children, about this? Don't worry about your questions. You can ask. You want to be very clear about this. This is our Supreme Buddha. Chamudi, do you have a question?
No, Swamin Wansa.
Okay, good.
Ante, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Because what I understand, it's like we have one internal sense base, yes. So, or we have our eye or ear or nose and tongue or body and mind. Then we have external, that it's all object or smell. And then we have consciousness. So I can understand for the five, but what about the mind? Because what is the external here?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. When the Supreme Buddha explains about mind, he explains actually that is very hard to understand for us. He says that we have our mind and we have the objects of the mind, which is called the thought. And then we have the consciousness too. There are three things here: mind, the thought, and the consciousness. They come together. For example, you have a memory. That's not your mind, that's a thought. Your mind is a different thing. You have your mind, and that thought comes to your mind, and then your consciousness come there and they meet together. You understand that? That is very profound, very subtle to understand. But there is something like that too. It's a very good question. When you read about the dependent origination from the original teachings, you will be able to understand and clear about everything. Don't worry about now. Take this information as this. That information will be very clear in the future when you read and listen. Okay? Good. And then I think we can talk this in detail maybe next week in our next episode. If I share that, you understand that with feelings as condition, craving come to be. Then I want you to keep this information in your mind. How does this craving or desire come to our mind? Because of the feeling. How does this feeling arise in our mind? Because of the contact in our mind, in our life. Maybe in the eye, in the nose, in the ear, wherever. Okay? I want you to understand these profound teaching, maybe a little bit. We will talk many information about dependent origination in our next episode. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.